Alrighty, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass live in the car here with you on Grande's Graveyard. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's had a wonderful week. It's been a nice week, and for me, I had a really nice off day Monday. Of course, Labor Day, that was super sweet. And now back on that work grind. It's been busy the last few days, but man, TGI Friday tomorrow. So I am super excited for that. It's honestly a long time coming, even though it was a short week. So I don't know, go figure. But I know that there's been some horror news today, so I figured I'd touch on that a little bit. And I'm not going to go crazy in depth with the horror news of the day, but I want to just touch upon it because I'm sure some people want to know my thoughts. That's going to be before I get into the main course of the evening, the awesome Japanese, Korean, and Hong Kong horror film of the evening. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's Three Extremes. This is the main course of the evening tonight. I'm super excited to talk about that one of my favorite horror movie anthologies of all time. The Soulless Trench Coat is in the hazy. What's going on, good brother? Hope all is well with you, my friend. I hope you had an awesome week, and man, I'm glad. Like I said, TGI Friday tomorrow, man. I am super excited because I am shot as hell, man. It's been a crazy week, but I wanted to briefly discuss the main horror topic of the day because people are going absolutely fucking batshit crazy on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. And what was announced today was Nev Campbell is officially returning for Scream 5. Yes, I know everybody and their mother is going crazy about it, so I figured I had to come on the air and mention and talk about it a little bit. To be honest with you, like people are, I feel like, going crazy over nothing. Like, was there a doubt she'd come back? I like that's kind of how I feel about it. I don't know. Like, I think, like, sure, I love Neve Campbell. I think she's a great final girl, and I think she does an awesome job as Sidney Prescott in the Scream series. But at the same time, I never had any doubt of her coming back. And of course, David Arquette's going to come back, and of course, Courtney Cox is going to come back. I mean, it's an easy paycheck for them, an hour and a half movie, and another movie that they can go to conventions and sign stuff for, obviously. So I think that's the thing. Like, once you're on the convention scene, when a movie like that comes around, you're like, yo, I have to do this. So I'm pretty sure that, I don't know, I just guess it was a little alarming to me that everybody and their mother was like super excited about that. I don't know. I guess it just didn't come as that much of a shock to me. But like I said, I'm happy for the diehard Scream fans. I think it's awesome. They got their wish. They're gonna get Scream 5 after that fucking show, which I couldn't get. I couldn't even get past the first episode of the first season. So I don't know. I don't really have any faith in that show or that series at this point. I feel like the first three will always be the best. Scream 4, I didn't hate Scream 4, but I definitely think it was a failed attempt to make a new trilogy. Like, I think their goal was to say, hey, let's keep pumping these out, and it bombed. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what Scream 5 is going to do. Oh, I keep glitching. Okay, that's not good. That's what the Soulless Trenchcoat says. I have no goddamn idea. Um, how am I now? Am I good now? I could change the Wi-Fi. I don't know. Let me see what's going on with my Wi-Fi here. Says I'm connected and secured. I don't know. I don't know, Souls Trenchcoat. Thank you for. I don't know. I have no idea. It looks pretty decent on my end, but of course, there's always got to be probs, right? Yeah, I don't want Scream 5, but it's cool Neb's attached. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I. Of course, she's gonna come back, man. I think it's one of those like just like it's death taxes, and of course, Nev Campbell's coming back for Scream 5 type of thing. I'm not surprised at all, man. You prefer Scream 4 over Scream 2 and 3. That's interesting. I definitely like Scream 4. I didn't dislike the film. I know there are a lot of people that hate it. I'm definitely not in that boat. I liked Scream 4 for sure. I think it was a decent sequel. I think like what they were going for with it, that's why obviously they pulled the plug, because I think they were thinking it was going to set the world on fire back 2011. And who knows, maybe they just didn't wait long enough. Maybe people weren't exactly ready for a movie like that again, because that was really when Paranormal Activity had taken off and the hype of paranormal films. You have movies like Insidious, that was an original film that probably stomped Scream 4 at the box office. And I think they were banking that Scream was an established name. It was going to make Halloween money, and it just didn't do that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it does. I know obviously they haven't started filming yet or anything like that, but I don't know. I know a lot of people are going apeshit crazy over it. So I'm happy for the Scream fans for sure. That's really, really cool for them. So Nev Campbell is returning. I know everybody's going crazy about that. So I just had to throw my 2 cents, just a little bit of a 5-minute discussion on that. But that takes me to the main topic of today's show. I'm super excited to talk about this one. This is one of my all-time favorite horror anthologies. And last week I talked about my all-time favorite, which was Trilogy of Terror Part 2. And this week I figure why not stick with the same exact theme, discussing another one of my favorite all-time horror anthology movies. And it is none other than Three Extremes. Ooh, yeah, I'm super excited to talk about this. Aiden's in Aheezy. What's going on, good brother? Hope all is well with you. Happy Thursday, almost Friday, almost TGI Fridays, baby. But Three Extremes, I actually have an interesting history with this movie. And it's funny that this movie has a weird history altogether. In 2002, a little movie called Three Extremes 2 was released, and that movie set the world on fire overseas. And in process, this was the sequel, Three Extremes 1. Weirdest shit ever, I know. I swear to God, I know a lot of people will probably go, how is that possible? How the hell did the second one come out before the first one? The answer to that, I have no goddamn unearthly idea how that works. Like, you'd have to ask one of the people that made Three Extremes 2 why it's called Three Extremes 2, not Three Extremes 1. And what's even weirder is that the more established filmmakers, of course, those filmmakers in question, Fruit Chan, Park Chan Wook, and Takashii Miike, they work on this one, whereas some lesser known filmmakers worked on the second one, but the second one came first. So really weird, kind of thing, this movie. Don't believe me, you can look it up. I swear to God, maybe you can find a better answer than I. I have no unearthly idea why the second one comes before the first one in this. It makes no sense to me. And I also have never seen the second one. I don't know if there's a DVD, a Region 1 DVD of it out, but I would love to give it a watch. I think because I love this movie. But my history with this movie, this is one of those movies that I rented from a Hollywood Video way back in the day. I was maybe 11 or 12 when I was trying to get into some foreign horror. And right on the back, where I read the back, I thought it sounded like the most interesting thing in the world. It was 3 separate segments, all around 45 minutes long, and each one was directed by a different director from a different country. So the first segment is from Hong Kong. It's, of course, Fruit Chan's segment, Dumplings. The second segment is called Cut, and that's Park Chan Wook's from South Korea. And then the final segment from Takashii Miike of Japan, it is the segment Box. So you had 3 different segments, 3 different directors, 3 different extremes. Thought that was the most interesting thing in the world when I read it on the box, because here is a movie where I can kind of explore and wander not just Japan, not just Hong Kong, not just South Korean horror, but all 3 at the same goddamn time in the same little package. So I thought that was a really, really cool way for me to kind of test the waters of horror. Like, I wish there was, more stuff like this. Like, I know obviously there's Black Sabbath, which is an Italian, it's a Mario Bava film, but all 3 of those segments are done by Mario Bava. So I do love Black Sabbath, don't get me wrong, but I thought what was cool about this was the idea of getting a little bit of a taste of what each one of these countries can bring to the horror genre in their own unique way. And that was what drew me to this. And when I watched it, I was like, holy crap, this is a great goddamn anthology horror film, and nobody talks about it. It's a crying shame, man. So I really want to put this one over today on the show. On IMDb, just if you don't trust me, IMDb is 7.1 on IMDb. That is absolutely bonkers, in my opinion. That's a really high rating for any horror movie, let alone any anthology horror film. I don't even think the original Creepshow is ranked that high. This is a great anthology horror film. And on the show today, I figured I'd go through all 3 of the segments. It's going to be really hard to rank them. I'm going to try to rank them, but I can't give any promises because I love all 3 of them. If I don't know if I could put any over the other, just I love them all equally. But yeah, I'm figured I get into this right off the bat. And I'll go in order of how it's done in the film. It runs just over 2 hours long, of course. Like I said, most of the story is around 45 minutes long. I guess there's one or two that's a little bit shorter to reach the 2 hour runtime, but I really, really enjoy all three stories. I could preface this entire review, entire Graveyard episode by saying that. But without further ado, let's get into the first segment, directed by Fruit Chan. And I'll be honest, of these three directors, he's the one I've seen the least amount of content from. And I looked him up. He hasn't done that much that I recognize, but man, I thought he did a wonderful job with this segment, and it is Dumplings. This is the first segment, Dumplings, and it stars this woman, and she plays this down on her luck, kind of aging, middle-aged actress. She was a TV star in her youth, and she's pretty much a depressed character right off the bat. She's really sad that she's getting old and wrinkly and into her late middle age, if you will, kind of transitioning from the beautiful young woman star that she was into obscurity, which is what happens to anybody and everybody who's in that business, whether you're male or female. Eventually, you have your day in the sun where you start to prune up and become old like the rest of us. I mean, that's what happens. So it's telling that age-old tale. And this woman's husband is cheating on her. She doesn't feel loved by anybody. She just feels absolutely depressed over what she's become and what she looks like. So one day she hears through the grapevine there's this magical witch doctor who lives in an apartment, a crummy old apartment, who can solve her problem. So she goes, the witch doctor's name is, I thought this was great, Aunt May. So a little bit of Spider-Man. I don't know. I guess I don't know. For some reason, as a kid, when I heard Aunt May, I thought it was a nod to the Aunt May and Spider-Man. Probably not. But I don't know. It's just, I thought that was so great as a kid. I was like, Aunt May, yo. I thought it was so fun. I was like, where's Uncle Ben at, man? Oh, he probably got killed. In this goddamn movie, Jesus Christ. A lot of bodies hit the floor in this movie. But yeah, Aunt May is the crazy witch doctor, and she goes to Aunt May and she says, listen, I need to look young again. I want to be desired again. I want to be a star again. And she goes to Aunt May, and Aunt May says, listen, I'm going to take care of you. All your problems, no worries. Come back in a week, and I'm going to have the solution for your problem. So she comes back in a week, and she says, here, this is going to be the solution. And she gives her a bowl of dumplings. And she says, eat these dumplings once a week, every week, and slowly but surely you will begin to regain your youth, and your wrinkles will go away, and your skin will be smoother, and you will be more desired by your husband who is committing infidelity on you, and all of a sudden you may be starting to get roles again. She promises her basically the world. And slowly but surely, all the stuff that Aunt May says comes true. She starts to get more roles again. She starts to have her husband lust for her again. And then, of course, she kind of blue balls him. She comes on to him, of course, and then, oh, I'm good now. Because she knows that she can have him, and thus leaves him for granted. I thought that was absolutely great. That's what anybody should do when they get cheated on. They should be like, oh, yeah, you want me now? Too late. You could have had me. But now I'm just going to walk out the door. I thought that was epic, man. I really liked this lead actress. I think she did a great job. I can get her name. I believe her name is, let's see, Tony K. Fao Ling. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that in any way, but she does a wonderful, wonderful job in this segment. I really like her. Maybe on the back they could to tell me a little bit more about her name. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not positive how to pronounce it exactly, but she does a really good job because she makes you feel the horror of being undesirable and going to lengths that are that of black magic to feel like you once felt again, to escape depression. And I thought that was a really interesting place to go with a horror anthology segment, because I mean, we had seen it done silly in a movie like Body Bags with Stacy Keach, and he wants the hair. And I mean, Body Bags is a lot of fun. I love Body Bags by John Carpenter. I think he does an excellent job with that anthology. But this is more of a serious body horror take on that exact segment. It's somebody who was unwanted. This is somebody that felt undesirable, And here, if she has these dumplings, she becomes younger, attractive, smoother skin, and she starts to get all these roles again. And everybody is starting to want her again. And she loves this attention. She's feeding off this attention and these dumplings at the same time. Until we get, of course, our horrific kind of reveal. We start to wonder what exactly is Aunt May putting in these dumplings. And it builds up and kind of gives you a couple red herrings as to what exactly Aunt May is putting in these dumplings to make her younger again. And man, it is absolutely fucking insane when you find out what she's putting in these dumplings to transfer her back to her youth. Holy shit. I mean, the first time you see that, you have to gag. Like, it's so goddamn disturbing and disgusting. And it's funny because you really don't see much, but it's just the idea of that's what she's eating, and you just go, oh my flipping god, that's insane. And it's just, it's so well done. I love Fu Chan's direction in this. I think he does a really excellent job of portraying the horrors of being undesired, and then the horrors of course, body horrors. She starts to, even though she has this nice skin, everybody around her says, oh well, something smells in here, you smell like shit. And of course, it's a side effect of the dumplings. She goes to Aunt May, why do I smell like shit? And Aunt May goes, listen, like, I got you your youth back. I got you your libido back. I got you your life back. There can be a side effect or two. And you learn that Aunt May is kind of a spoiler here. She's into doing abortions, like black market abortions. And I guess if you know that part of it, you can kind of guess what is exactly in the dumplings. And man, it is absolutely fucking terrifying, man, once you find out. And it is really, really well done body horror. And I think that all the actors involved, I think the direction, I think the look of it, the grimy, gritty feel that this has is a perfect way for any horror anthology segment to kick its movie off. Here you have a body horror, here you have an undesired woman, and this is something we can relate to right off the bat. And I think that Fruit Chan does an excellent, excellent job at driving home the horrors that he was trying to get home. And man, this made me really get into Hong Kong horror for a while, this first segment, because for a long time it was my favorite of the three segments. I don't know if that's the same anymore, but I also would get into this Hong Kong film called Dream House. And man, I absolutely adored Dream House. Dream House is basically this film where this woman, she's kind of sick of her everyday 9 to 5 job, and she wants to move out of her crummy apartment, and she wants this new dream house. And she thinks she's going to get it, and basically uh somebody outbids her, some crazy millionaire outbids her for this house, and she has to commit murder to get this house. And the rest of the film is her trying to cover up the first murder with another murder and another murder. And it's a crazy, like, heavy metal, hardcore gore horror film. Dreamhouse, really, really good Hong Kong horror film. And I think that a lot of people sleep on that one. And a lot of people do sleep on Hong Kong horror. I would like to get into, some even more, maybe some older Hong Kong horror. But man, when it comes to awesome Hong Kong horror and body horror at that, I always think of Dumplings, because, and it's what's really cool is on the other disc here, I can show you guys this. Lionsgate put this out, which is really cool. You actually have the feature length film of Dumplings. So if Dumplings, if you love it, you can watch the hour and 30-minute version of it, which is really, really cool if you don't want to watch just the short segment. I've watched the entire movie, of course, the hour 30 Dumplings, and it's fantastic. But I do think it works better as a short, just because you're able to cram pack the extreme body horror and tell that story so much quicker that all the kind of fat and filler is cut right out of it, and bam, you just get everything that you came for. And I think that Dumplings is an excellent horror segment. We got two Aidens in the Heezy. Look at this. Hey, what's up? Watching Survival of the Dead. I can't believe I like that film now. Yeah, and I see that Bruiser is your avatar. That's pretty funny, man. That is really cool. I have a fun time with Bruiser. I've never heard about it, but I've heard about it, but never seen it. I have to check it out. Yeah, for sure. It's a really good one for sure. But yeah, I really enjoy Dumplings. That's one of my favorites of any anthology horror film. It's just perfect stuff. I really love it. And man, I'd like to look into some more of Fruit Chan's work because he's definitely, of these three directors, the one I'm least familiar with. But with that being said, we can move on into story number two. This one directed by the legendary. I want to get his name right. I know I said it. Park Chan Wook. Ooh yeah, baby. Gotta love Park Chan Wook. Of course, the director of Old Boy. That's what most people know him from. Just an excellent filmmaker. Really extreme, gory, violent filmmaker. He's into all that stuff. And man, this, which is blows my mind, was his follow-up to Old Boy. He made Old Boy, and then this was the next project he worked on. And man, saying back to back that you would work on Old Boy and then his segment in this cut is nothing short of extraordinary. I love this horror anthology segment cut, man. I can lay down the kind of plot for you guys here. It stars this veteran film director, this horror director. And he, in the opening scene, he's filming and talking to extras and talking to the people that work for him. It's basically the opening of this segment is the day in the life of a veteran horror filmmaker. And he gets home, and you basically see that somebody's broken into his house and he gets abducted. When he wakes up, he's tied up to by his waist, so he can only go so far in this room that he's in. His wife is super glued her fingers down to this piano and a million strings, so she can't really move her body or torso or anything. And there's this crazy disgruntled man in between them who says, "You have to kill this person on the couch to my right," and it's a little Asian girl. And he says, "You need to kill this girl to my right, and every 5 minutes that you don't, I'm going to cut off one of your wife's fingers." And you see that the wife is actually a professional piano player. So if you chop off her fingers, she's going to lose her profession. And right then and there, man, it's just a fantastic setup. You're like, holy shit, what is going on here? Because they throw so much at you in just, spare time. And I really like this setup because it's almost like a really crazy Saw game in a lot of ways. But what's great about this segment, what I think makes this segment stand out, is its sense of humor. It has a great sense of humor to it, as of course incredible gore. And I think the number one thing that I love about this segment, and it's funny, it's not the direction from Park Chan Wook, although he does a fantastic job directing this. It's the dialogue. The dialogue in this, it really feels like Rod Serling was resurrected from the dead and wrote this segment. It feels so Rod Serling. I love, love, love the writing in this. There's a scene where he yells at this disgruntled guy. He's like, please, he's like, my wife, she's a professional piano player. Don't cut off her fingers. And he goes, I know that. He goes, only an idiot would cut off her toes. Like, I love that. Like, when I don't know why, it's the way he delivers the line where he's just like, only an idiot would cut off her fucking toes, man. I thought that was fantastic. I thought the entire look and aesthetic of this segment, the number one scene, and I put this as the thumbnail, was the thing that I remember from this movie the most. The visual is this guy's wife super glued down to this piano, and just the fear in her eyes. Of course, that is the cover on the box. As her mascara runs down, she's crying after each finger is chopped off by this crazy madman with a little time clock. And you learn more and more about the characters as the segment goes on. Of course, it starts where the filmmaker, the director says, hey, you can kill me, leave my wife alone. Hey, if you want money, if you want jewelry, it's all in my bedroom. You can go and take it. Just let her live. Stop it. And this guy says, hey, I don't care about your sympathy. I know you're a good guy. I've worked for you. And you find out that this guy has been in every single one of this director's movies, but as an extra, so he doesn't recognize the guy. And he's like, I'm pretty insulted you didn't recognize me, so I'm going to make you make a choice. I'm going to make this nice guy commit a goddamn sin. And he's like, what do you mean commit a sin? He goes, I want you to kill this little girl on the couch that you know nothing about. And he's like, who is she? Who is this little girl? And the villain goes, oh, well, I saw her on my way here. She looked bored, so I decided I'd take her along. It's really fucked up. But this villain is so much goddamn fun. This is a villain performance where he dials it past 11, past 20, all the way up to pretty much 100, man. I think this villain does a wonderful job in this segment, man. He is just having a ball. And I love this villain. I think he almost carries the entire segment. And what I really like is how it starts off where both the husband and wife are trying to babyface one another and say, "Oh, don't let this happen to her." And she's like, "Oh, well, you can't strangle that kid. You know, let me lose my fingers before you strangle that kid." As slowly but surely this segment starts to go on, they start to become less and less sympathetic because you realize the true people that they are. And even on paper, they may look like these great noble people, but in reality, they both might just be scumbags. You find out that the director has cheated on his wife a few times with his assistant, and you find out that the wife is just a lazy bitch. Yeah, she may be a professional piano player, but our lead character says her fingers are only good for wearing the jewelry I buy for her, and she's ungrateful for that. And she never lifts up her fingers. She never cooks. She never cleans. And it's all this dialogue that I think make this segment great. I think that it's just so circa Rod Serling. It's something Rod Serling would like that line with the, oh, you know, all her fingers are good for wearing the jewelry I buy her. I thought that was brilliant. That's so Rod Serling. And you starting to feel less and less sympathetic because after a while, this woman, once she hears that her husband's cheated on her, she's like, then go over there and kill that kid, strangle that kid. I need to live. I need to move on from this. And you're like, holy shit. It goes back to the old Dark Knight motif of the Heath Ledger character, of course, playing the Joker, where he says, you know, these civilized people, when the chips are down, they'll eat each other. And that's basically an entire, if that sentence could describe this segment, that's the perfect one, because that really is what it is. It's when the chips are down, who is a really good person, who is a really good guy. And I like that parallel that it plays with one another. You don't know who we should like. You don't know. We know this crazy batshit villain is having a great time, and there are points where he breaks out into dance and to song and to the extras that he's played in the movies for this director. He's like, "You don't recognize me?" And he does all these dancing and all this stuff. And there are points where he rips out and farts. Like, it's totally, it's all over the fucking place. You're just like, holy shit. Like, one minute he's cutting off this bitch's finger, the next minute he's dancing around with no shirt on and farting. And like, it's so fucking batshit crazy that you cannot help but enjoy it. It's just so damn entertaining. Of these three, I think it's the most entertaining, and it's really the one that I think a lot of people will come back and rewatch. And that's why I really, really enjoy the segment cut. I think it's so much goddamn fun. It's just the one where, like, the first one, you get that body horror that lead into it. Oh my god, I'm disgusted. And in this one, of course, we're getting everything up front. I'm getting some blood. I'm getting some great dialogue. I'm getting a really fun, batshit, over the top villain, an interesting plot in dealing with filmmakers. I thought that was really cool. And a finale that is just absolutely in fucking sane. I don't know if I want to spoil it. I guess I could spoil some of it. You find out that, so spoiler alert, everybody. I'm sorry, just a brief spoiler alert. Nothing crazy here. I won't go into the very, very ending. But you learn that this little Chinese girl on the couch, or I'm sorry, Korean girl on the couch, is this crazed, deranged killer's son that he dressed up in drag to use as bait because he believed that the director wouldn't actually go through with killing the kid in order to save his wife's fingers. Thought that was really interesting, where he was saying basically, I'm calling your bluff. There's no way you're gonna step up and be a bad guy. And then when he finally goes and does it, even our villain is shocked that he got the worst out of our protagonist, which is really cool. If you ask me, the psychology behind that. It would even be the Joker being surprised that, holy shit, I got Harvey Dent to turn. You know what I mean? That's kind of the thing where I can kind of connect it to, and I think a lot of course, American mainstream audiences can connect that to. Even he was shocked, and I thought that was absolutely brilliant, and I thought it was, in a way, driving home the horror of the segment. And with that being said, There's a really fun, gory ending to this, and another twist on top of that. There's twists galore in this. This is, if you like entertaining horror with great dialogue, great villains, and great psychology, I think Cut is the segment for you. And I think it seems to be the one that the most people like the most. Like, I've read a lot of reviews, and most people seem to put Cut over the most. And I think Park Chan-wook is no goddamn, stranger to having mainstream popular films. Of course, Old Boy set the world on fire right before this, and I think he picks right up, where he left off with Cut, and I think he just does an excellent job with it. So that is Cut. I really enjoyed the middle segment. I think anybody and everybody can get into it. I think it's one that it's easily the most popular of the three, and I absolutely adore it, man. Really, really good segment. Yeah, that visual, when you see that visual of her glued to the piano and her eyes and crying and stuff, you feel utmost sympathy. But by the end, I don't know if we're supposed to feel sympathetic or not, because you learn who the true person is. It's another one of those things where, who is the martyr? Who can we really make into a martyr? It makes you question that. And once you get to know more and more and more about somebody, these good people, these martyrs, they turn into villains, almost this something less than a martyr, of course, a victim, if you will. And I don't know, I thought that was really, really well done. I really liked the psychology in that. Yeah, man, it is an interesting one for sure. I might give Three Extremes a watch, but I have to prepare myself because Takashii Miike directed the final segment. I will never forget Imprint, bro. This was a crazy segment. I'll get into the final segment. Yeah, Takashii, oh my god, dude. It's funny. Yeah, Imprint is him toned down. Yeah, man, I highly recommend the segment Cut. Of course, both segments, but the final segment, of course, we can get into Mr. Takashii Miike. This is the director of the three that I'm most familiar with. Of course, you guys mentioned Imprint. I love Imprint. One of my favorite Masters of Horror episodes, easily in my top 5 Masters of Horror episodes. I love Gosu. I love, oh gosh, Audition, of course. I mean, Takashi Miike, and it's funny because a lot of people think, oh, he just does horror. He does a lot of action adventure films as well. And man, I think he does an excellent job in anything he directs. I think Takashi Miike is one of the best filmmakers alive today. And man, he's one of Japanese's, or Japan's finest. I just love Takashi Miike. And we can get into his segment here because you guys saying that this stuff is if Imprint's toned down, this one, I think this one is actually just as, if not more, crazy. Yeah, the Imprint is toned down Miike film. He's the craziest filmmaker. Dude, he is the craziest filmmaker, and no exception to this one. This is Box, the final segment of the film. It's funny, before I get into this one, most reviews I've read will tell you that the final segment Box, directed by Takashii Miike, is the weakest of the three. That blows my mind. I don't think that at all. Even how I will say, the first time I watched it, I would agree with that. I felt, yeah, of the three, it's the slowest of the three for sure. But upon rewatching it and upon thinking about it and upon thinking about it even after I had watched it as a kid, because I was like, man, of all these three stories, why is this one sticking with me the most? And that's, of course, I think the power of Takashii Miike as a filmmaker. I can get into a little bit of the plot of this one. It basically stars these two sisters, and they're a part of this kind of circus act with their father. There's Kyoko, which is our lead character, and Shoko, and they're twin sisters. And basically, they do these shows around town with their father, these crazy shows, and they can contortion their bodies into all sorts of shapes and small spaces and stuff like that. And right off the bat, you get the idea that Shoko is preferred to Kyoko by the father. She's the favorite. She's, of course, the favored child, the teacher's pet, if you will. And you get the idea, now this is where it becomes Takashii Miike film, that there is a lot of incest going on between father and twin daughter. And every night you're getting this idea of that they're sleeping together, which is really fucked up because these girls are like 11 or 12 years old. So I will preface by saying, if you are not, if you are one of those politically correct people, this movie might fucking kill you because it's fucking, I mean, 2 minutes in, you have incest. So, I mean, it's pretty fucking crazy. You learn that Kyoko is just absolutely distraught and jealous of Shoko for being the favorite child, and she really wants this relationship with her father. Really crazy shit. Again, I mean, it doesn't get any more fucked up than this, man. Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ, yeah. Really fucking crazy shit. But one night, Kyoko says to Shoko, "Listen, I want to sleep with him tonight, and I'm gonna need to dispose of you for a little while." And she's like, "What are you talking about? Like he'll come around to you. Like stop being so silly." And Kyoko locks Shoko up in a box that they, of course, contortion in and whatnot for the shows. And because they're twins, she dresses up like her, thinks, okay, he won't know the difference. He does know the difference, and he goes, "What have you done with Shoko?" And she's like, "Well, she's in this box." And there's yelling and fighting, and this lantern gets knocked over and inadvertently puts the box on fire. And basically, Shoko burns to death in the box. Then you fast forward to years and years later, and we follow Kyoko as an adult, and it's her living on from the grief, the guilt, and the feeling again of being an undesirable because her father never truly loved her the way that he loved her sister. And in turn, killed her loving sister, who was her best friend in the world, on accident just to try to get some attention. This is absolutely horror at its finest. And I think it's Takashii Miike at its finest because here's a segment that even though you get the burning scene, it's so goddamn cold. It's a very cold segment and the cinematography is off the charts. There's one of my favorite scenes in horror movie history in this movie where Kyoko visits the old location of where her sister was burned alive. And it's a cold, wintry sunset as she looks at this tree. And the landscape is almost this dark, deep purple. And she drops to her knees and she looks up and she just says, "I'm sorry, Shoko. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I did. I was a kid. I didn't know any better." And it's just so heart wrenching for you to watch because you do feel bad and you do feel sympathetic because here's somebody that I think anybody and everybody can say, while we weren't in this exact situation, we can relate to the feeling of, hey, why am I not the favorite child? Hey, why doesn't mommy or daddy love me more? And I think that plays a lot into it. And I really like how it's again the jealousy factory. What will we do to be desired again? And she goes to an utmost, no pun intended, extreme and inadvertently kills her sister over that. And this segment just escalates from there. There's a scene where she revisits the building that she used to work at and she runs into what she thinks is a doppelganger of her father who tries to seduce her, and you get some more crazy Miike visuals. The visuals in this, the cinematography in this is the best of the three. I think it's fucking incredible. There's a scene where we see the box of Shoko's remains, and he goes, "There's nothing in there but burnt limbs and ash because of what you did, because of what your jealousy and guilt created." And we see for a brief second the box opens and you see a little eye pop out and all this like, oh my god, it's such a scary ass visual, man. It's one that you will fucking have nightmares from. This will give you nightmares, the Takashii Miike segment box in this movie. It is absolutely fucking terrifying because you can pinpoint all the visuals in it. And not even just while it's fucked up or scary or this or that, but it's really goddamn interesting too. It's a really good story. I like where it begins and it ends really goddamn crazy. It's one of those endings I don't want to ruin for people. I think it is one of those endings where I think people get a little upset about it because it is a kind of out there ending, but at the same time, that's Takashi Miike. If you don't know Miike's work, you know that he's gonna go all out for it. So I know it's one of those movies that it has, or segments I should say, that has a wacky ending, but I will say it has another really crazy visual in it that it haunts me to this day, and it makes you rethink the entire segment, because when you first see it, you'll probably go, that's how this ends? Like, you were so strong, and then this ending. Where it ends, I really think, upon rewatching it and thinking about it, it's the only way it really can end, because it's so fucking crazy. I don't want to spoil any of these, to be honest with you. And I know I gave slight spoiler for Cut, but when I think of three wonderful horror anthology segments or a horror anthology film that works great as a whole, Trilogy of Terror 2, Creepshow 2, and Three Extremes. I think these movies really, all together work the best as a great horror movie anthology. It's anything and everything you could ever want. You have the body horror and the feeling of being undesired, and what will we go through again to be desired. Excellently done. And the body horror and the gross out stuff, it is dialed up to 11. You will be fucking gagging when you find out what exactly old Aunt May is putting in these dumplings, man. And of course, the Cut segment, the most fun segment of the movie, really gory, really entertaining, really over the top, but again, something that we can turn our brains off and have fun with. And the dialogue, again, really, really interesting, deep stuff. Not just, popcorn movie entertaining, but entertaining nonetheless. And I really like the Cut segment. And in the final segment, you get your most dreamsicle, atmospheric, fucked up. I mean, it's the most fucked up. You have incest. You have an 11-year-old child burning to death in a fucking box. You have this woman that cannot get over what she had done in her past, and she cannot move on from that feeling of not being wanted, and your heart goes out to her. And of course, all the scary, creepy ass fucking visuals that you get in this segment, man. You cannot go wrong with Three Extremes. I think all three work for all three different reasons. And I think that's the best thing that horror anthologies can bring. You see, if you do a horror anthology where all 5 segments are monster segments, I feel like it kind of just loses its purpose. Whereas with a anthology like Creepshow, there can be some funny ones, there could be some over the top ones, there can be some scary ones, there could be some ones that are Halloween centric, there could be all sorts of different places you can go to, and that's why I really like anthology horror. One week doesn't have to be as serious as the last, and one week doesn't have to be as funny as the last. We can kind of do each and every different thing and touch every different base and touch every different country, which is what this does. I think that's the coolest thing about this movie. I got a taste at a young age of Hong Kong horror, Hong Kong body horror, then, of course, over the top South Korean gore fest, and then, of course, Japanese's legendary horror filmmaker Takashii Miike, and a more of a dreamsicle atmospheric segment with some crazy ass kill scenes, visuals, and incest thrown in for fucking kicks. You cover every base with this movie. It's one of the most grand horror anthologies of all time. And man, I'm going to come in with the Rightfold rating of 10 out of 10. Another perfect horror movie for me. I really, really recommend this one. It's on Amazon Prime streaming for free. I know a lot of people don't like subtitles, and that's fine, but this is one of those subtitle movies that I will say, please give it a whirl, man. This is horror anthology at its fucking finest. I absolutely adore Three Extremes, and it gets the Grande stamp of approval here on the show today. It was a fun one to talk about for sure. What Miike film should I start with? Well, I guess the Soulless Trench Coat did answer what my answer would have been. And of course, Audition. That's like his most famous one. Of course, yes, Each of the Killer is fantastic. I know you said you've seen Imprints, so that's a good one to start with too, because like Soulless Trench Coat said, it's only the beginning of the crazy lengths that Takashii Miike will go to make a crazy or entertaining film. I really think Gosu is one of those movies down the road. You should try Gosu. That's a fucking crazy one for sure. That's one of those ones where it's Miike dialed up to 11 again. really crazy ass stuff. I love Takashii Miike. I think he's the best filmmaker of these three for sure. Yeah, definitely. Creepshow is my favorite Stephen King film. Yeah, gotta love Creepshow, man. Creepshow is one of the best of all time. Sounds great. Yeah, dude, awesome. I appreciate you guys giving each other recommendations. Oh yeah, dude, absolutely. I'm glad to hear that you will give it a watch. Let me know what you think if you do, because this is one of my favorites. I'm a huge diehard fan of Three Extremes, and I know this DVD goes for next to nothing. Then you get this DVD for $8. Lionsgate put this out. It's fantastic. It looks really good. You do have an audio commentary on the box from Takashii Miike, so that's a really, really cool one. And then of course you do get Dumplings, the feature-length film Dumplings. So if you liked the 45-minute short, you can get to see what the theatrical 1 hour and 30-minute cut of it looks like. So I thought that was really cool. But that is Three Extremes. Absolutely one of my all-time faves. Just a masterpiece when it comes to horror movie anthologies. So I really love that one. So yeah, we're about 45 minutes in. I cut it short last week. I guess, I mean, I would be down if you guys have any questions or anything you guys want to talk about for another 10, 15 minutes. I mean, I don't have to go so soon, but at the same time, no worries if you guys don't want to talk anymore. It's all good with me. Yeah, it was fun to talk about this one for sure. This is one that I always revisit around the Halloween season, though. I really enjoy this one, and of course, the Takashi Miike segment always when it's the winter because it's just such a cold segment, and the cinematography of the winter and all that stuff. I just think it just gets really underneath my skin, and I don't know. I think it's really, really well done segment. I would love to know before I go here who does the cinematography on that segment because man, I believe I nominated him for a Grande's or no, I'm sorry, a Carrie Award, which was a show I did back in the day where I did like horror movie awards. And I did nominate him because this segment it just has some of the best cinematography I've ever fucking seen in it. I'm looking right here. Um, hmm, full cast and crew, and then let's see. Okay, so the cinematography for that one was done by Koichi Kawakami, and he just did an excellent job. I'm just going to look up if he's done any other Miike films because he just did an excellent job. Um, let's see. He's since retired. Yeah, none of these really ring a bell for me. I'm looking. I don't even see any other Miike films on here. But man, I thought he did an excellent job for sure. Do you think Bruiser should get a Blu-ray? Why the hell not? I think Bruiser deserves a Blu-ray. I enjoy Bruiser. I know there are a lot of Romero fans that'll even tell you that Bruiser is a bad film, but in all honesty, I think Bruiser is a really good film. I think the lead actor does a good job. I think what's his name? Oh god, he went on to be in some of the X-Men films. I do really like the lead actor. I forget his name, but I like the song at the end. I think it's a fun movie. It's one of those. Okay, is it Romero at his best? No, but it's an original enough movie. It's fun. And people fucking think I'm nuts for this, but I honestly would watch over Monkey Shines. I think Monkey Shines a little bit overrated. I don't know. I've never been the most diehard fan of Monkey Shines. I think it's a good movie, but I don't think like there's some people who tell you, oh, it's one of the best. Like I don't, no, I don't think Monkey Shines is that great. That it's funny. Monkey Shines, The Dark Half, and Bruiser kind of all go together for me. It's like his 80s standalone movie, his 90s standalone movie, and then the 2000s standalone movie. I like all three of them, but I definitely think it's weird. It's like it's almost like after Day of the Dead, those movies as a follow-up. It's odd. Like they're not bad, but they're just a little bit of a step down from what Day of the Dead was, which I think in a lot of ways is his best movie, which is crazy because Dawn of the Dead is my favorite movie. But I think you can make the argument that Day of the Dead is a better film than Dawn of the Dead. I think Day of the Dead is fucking perfect. It really is a perfect film. It's Savini's magnum opus, and in a lot of ways, it's Romero's best zombie movie in a lot of categories. I think you can really make that argument. I like Dawn of the Dead better, but I can totally see the argument for someone saying, hey, I like Day of the Dead better. I totally get that argument because I won't lie, for a long time, I could be in that boat. I really love Day of the Dead. I think Day of the Dead's fucking great. But yeah, man, Bruiser, why the fuck not? We live in a world where there is a peanut butter solution Blu-ray. There's a Troll 2 special edition Blu-ray. Ghost Ship is on Blu-ray. 13 Ghosts has a special edition Blu-ray. What the fuck? Why the fuck? Bruiser is better than 13 Ghosts and Ghost Ship put together. Ghost Ship is a piece of shit other than that opening fucking scene, which is crazy. But man, yes, Bruiser deserves a special edition Blu-ray. I would love to see a commentary with the lead actor, of course. I don't know if on that old DVD if Romero recorded one, like a commentary for it. I don't know. Do you have that DVD? Anybody? Either one of you guys? I would love to know because that's actually a DVD I don't have. And man, I will hold out because they released Season of the Witch on special edition Blu-ray. They released There's Always Vanilla has a special edition fucking Blu-ray. So There's Always Vanilla has a special edition Blu-ray. I can't see why Bruiser doesn't. I think Lionsgate owns the film, so I mean, what the fuck would it cost them to put out a special edition Blu-ray of it? I would, even if it was just a bare bones Blu-ray. I am 100% in your corner, Aiden. I think Bruiser deserves a Blu-ray. God damn it! I don't care if I get hate. Yeah, I did an episode. I called it the Carry Awards. And basically, I did all the Oscar categories and then all the horror movies ever made to give certain actors, actresses, directors, writers, all this stuff their day in the sun. And it was a really fun episode. I've had some people tell me that it's like one of my favorite, one of their favorite episodes. So that was a really fun episode for sure. I enjoyed that. Yeah, Bruiser Over Monkey Shines for sure. Day of the Dead is my favorite Dead film. See, yeah, there's a lot of, I don't know if there's more that love Day or Dawn. Like it seems to be those two are the top, and then like the real old geezer in the back of the room will tell you Night of the Living Dead scared the shit out of him when he was a kid. But obviously I do love Night of the Living Dead too. I'm just teasing. But see, yeah, I've heard so many people say Day of the Dead's better, and I could see completely why. I'm in the same boat for sure. I know where you're coming from. I think Dawn is just the nostalgia and the comic book feel and the blood and the mall and the characters and Ken Foree, all that stuff. But at the same time, I can hear the argument for Pilato and Clar and biggest piece of, oh wow, I botched that, biggest piece of meat in the cave, and the fucking Savini effects and choke on them and all these fantastic fucking moments. Holy shit, holy fucking shit, when the zombies are coming down at the, oh my god, and I fucking adore Day of the Dead. It's one of the best movies of all time for sure. I prefer Day for Bub. Yeah, of course, the Bub, Howard Sherman, just an excellent fucking performance. I adore Howard Sherman as Bub. I think he did an excellent job. He brought such a character to a role that it's not hard to bring it is hard to bring a character to it. It is hard to give a feel and an emotion, and you feel for Bub. That's a fantastic performance, really underrated. I had the DVD for Bruiser. The commentary is great. I would love to hear that commentary because I've actually never heard. I do not own Bruiser, never have. That's one of those movies I watched late night on, I want to say, was it the Sci-Fi? It might have even been fucking Chiller TV back in the day. That's how fucking old that one is. But I used to watch that, and I just thought it was a fantastic little fun little movie. I always really liked Bruiser for sure. Hell, the Giant Claw has a Blu-ray for real. Like, goddamn, release Bruiser. Why the hell not? Like, of all the movies, you know what's even crazy? Martin does not have a special edition Blu-ray. I have a fucking DVD-R of Martin. That's one of Romero's best fucking films. There's Always Vanilla has a fucking special edition Blu-ray, and he self-admitted that it's his worst movie, which I don't know about that, but it's, holy shit, it's not a good movie. And like, why does that have a special? And like, I believe it's an Arrow edition where it's between Night and Dawn. That's the name of it. And you get There's Always Vanilla, The Crazies, and Season of the Witch. And like, other than The Crazies, it's not worth the $80 they're charging. That's fucking crazy. You're getting two Romero films that one of them Romero didn't like, and the other one Romero wanted to fucking remake, which was Season of the Witch. So I don't fucking know if it's worth that money. I am not splurging. I still have the Blue Underground Blu-ray of The Crazies. I think I have it over here somewhere. I think. I'm looking for it right now. Yeah, I'd have to tear this entire thing apart, which I don't want to do. But yeah, man, that's crazy. $80 for that? That's fucking crazy. Give Martin a fucking Blu-ray. Give Bruiser a Blu-ray, please. Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Soulless Trenchcoat. Yeah, that was a fun show for sure. That was a really fun show. Bruiser over Land of the Dead. I agree. I'm not a big fan of Land of the Dead. I think Land of the Dead is the weakest, honestly, of the Dead films. I hate the cast in that movie with a burning passion. I think Simon Baker has as much business being a lead of a fucking film as a fucking bum on the street. I don't understand. John Leguizamo is your big fucking badass in the film. I'm taking Dead Reckoning and I'm blowing you out of your castle. What the fuck? Who casted him? Why the fuck are you casting Carlito's fucking Way to be a fucking badass zombie hunter? Horrible casting, man. The only person that's good does a good job in that movie is Asia Argento because she's fucking beautiful and I believe her in that role. I don't mind the friend with the eye. He's in a ton of horror movies. He's in the Hills of Eyes remake. I forget his damn name. Oh my god, Robert Joy. I think that's his name, Robert Joy. He's also in oh my god, I'm just blanking. I know he's in another horror movie too. I'm sure somebody will say it, but I really like him. I think he does a good job in the film, but also Dennis Hopper just didn't belong, man. I don't really like Land of the Dead at all. I think it's a little bit overrated, to be honest. Don't get the hate for day. I don't either. I really don't get the hate for day. I know a lot of people say it's over the top, and the way I see it is it's almost like a play. Day of the Dead is a play because it takes place in that one location, the underground bunker. And a lot of it is dialogue. A lot of it, I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein. I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time. And all the, like, 80% of the film is arguing, but it's so entertaining and the characters are so colorful. And when you do get the gross out hardcore gore, it's way better than in Dawn of the Dead. And that's just coming from someone who thinks Dawn of the Dead is the greatest movie ever made. So like I'm being completely unbiased here. I think the gore and Day of the Dead smokes Dawn of the Dead. It really does. But yeah, as for the hate, man, I don't get it either. What is so bad about the film? The over the top cursing? Does that really make it a bad film when you're interested in the characters and you remember all the stuff that they say? Steal, shoot that woman. You never forget that. It's hello, hello. The John Harrison score at the beginning and the crazy finale of all those amazing special effects. And you're going to fly us to paradise, Johnny. I mean, Day of the Dead's a masterpiece. People who hate Day of the Dead, watch Land of the Dead, okay? Like tell me in your honest to God opinion that Land of the Dead is a better movie than Day of the Dead. I will fucking sit here all day. I do not understand the hate for Day of the Dead. I think it's the second best zombie movie ever made, and it might be Romero's second best movie he ever made. It's close. Like that Creep Show. I think Night of the Living Dead obviously has to be in the conversation. I think Martin has to be in the conversation for second best Romero film for me personally. But it's one of the best zombie movies of all time. It's like that, Dawn of the Dead, Return of the Living Dead. That's probably like my three favorite zombie movies of all time because all three of them are just perfect, man. I got to see Martin. Highly recommend Martin. I believe it's free to watch on YouTube, which you might as well do because there's no fucking special edition out and all the DVDs are out of print right now. I have a shitty, crummy DVD-R that looks like a fucking VHS transfer, which I'm glad to own the film, but Jesus Christ. I know Second Sight Film, they're trying to release a 4K of it, which I have no faith in now because I found out that the Dawn of the Dead 4K here's the Dawn. I'm sure some of you guys know this already, but I just a little bit of a small rant. They're releasing Dawn of the Dead on 4K from Second Sight Films. They'll have the three cuts of the Argento cut, the extended cut, the US theatrical cut, aka my favorite cut. I love that cut the best. Those three discs, region free 4K. Cool with it. Then you have like 3 or 4 special features discs with new interviews from Richard France, new interviews, new audio commentaries, all this new shit. The Blu-rays are region 2. So they're going to be locked in the United States and Canada unless you have a region-free player, which I don't. So if I buy the 4K, the special editions coming out, the box set is $100. I can only watch the movie in the 3 different cuts. I can't watch any of the new fucking special features. That's fucking bullshit. I don't know if it's Richard Rubinstein's doing. I don't know if Second Sight didn't want to release the Blu-ray discs as region free. I don't know. I have a feeling it's Richard Rubinstein's fault. Like, because he's been a fucking piece of shit about all this stuff Romero wise, and he won't license Dawn of the Dead to anybody because he wants his shitty 3D version of it. And apparently that is the reason why those discs are not region 1 and not region free, I mean, is because he wants the Blu-ray edition included, and if it's not, it can't come out in the United States or Canada. That is a huge disservice to the fans, man. And if Martin's the same deal, where they get a new interview with John Amplis and maybe an old interview with Lincoln Maisel, and maybe Christine Forrest comes back for an interview, Tom Savini could do an interview. I know it's the first movie Tom Savini ever worked on and acted in. I would love to see an interview with Tom Savini on Martin, talking about Martin. And maybe even the guy who, in the scenes where Martin's talking to the guy on the radio, get that guy back. I would love to see that guy get interviewed again. I think that would be a really cool thing, man. So I don't know. I have little faith in Second Sight Films with this 4K stuff, because you gotta fucking release it all region free. That's bullshit to any diehard fan. And those are two of my favorite Romero films. So I think they have to get on their shit, and they have to get on the same page with Richard Rubinstein, or else I don't see it worth it, man. Why do special edition where I can't watch the special features unless I have a region 2 player? That's fucking crazy to me, in my opinion. I have fun time with Land, but it's easily the weakest of the series. Yeah, I agree. I do think it's the weakest of the series. Give me Survival over Land any day of the week. Yeah, honestly, I'm there. I know Survival has its problems and the CGI is bad, and it's, in a lot of ways, it's a comedy. But for some reason, I can rewatch it as more, because it's almost like, it feels like an experimental film for me. And in that way, I guess it's interesting. It's not a great movie. It's not even really a good movie. But I don't know. For some reason, it's more watchable to me. Like Land of the Dead is just a fucking pain in the ass movie, man. I don't like Land of the Dead. Danae's here. What's going on, Danae? Glad to see your name on here. How you doing tonight? I hope you're doing well. They all have their merits. Night has the atmosphere, Dawn has the deep message and environment and emotional investment, and Day has the fun factor and over the top cheesiness. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I think, yeah, and I think they all specify their decade, right? Like Night of the Living Dead is the late 60s. Films were transitioning with your Lolitas of the world, with your 2001 Space Odysseys of the world. Film was taking a turn for the better, I think, in the latter half of the 60s, and having the controversial ending where Dwayne Jones's character gets shot, it opens the door to such an interesting conversation about, was he shot because they thought he was a zombie, or was he shot because they thought he was black? And that opens up so many avenues to talk about and for filmmakers and critics to go into. And I think in the long run, it was, complete coincidence. I really do. I think that was the ending of the film, whether Dwayne Jones was white or black. Dwayne Jones just happened to be the best actor. But when you create that controversy, everybody is going to start talking about your film. And I think that's the beauty of Night. Dawn, I think, is the best movie ever made. I think it's the most grand movie. It has the great characters that you grow to love: Ken Foree, Galen Ross, Scott Reiniger, David Emge. I mean, I love all four of the main actors. I think they're just fantastic. The fun setting of the mall, the dialogue, the music, the score by Goblin. I mean, Dawn of the Dead is my favorite movie of all time. And then Day of the Dead, to me, it's the most like a play. It is the most over the top, but like, that's not a bad thing. That's why I love Day of the Dead. It's so much fucking fun and it's so memorable. Day of the Dead's a masterpiece, man. It's been a long week for me too today. It's funny because it's been a short week in reality, but I don't know. It's been a long day. It really has. It's almost Betty by time for sure, man. I'm shocked too. Yeah, totally. Do you think Diary and Survival will have cult followings? That's a good question. That's a really good question. I do know some people that say Diary is the best of the three, and that's where I would say is my favorite of the three. However, I don't know. I do know a lot of people that say Diary's the worst of all six of them. I know people that think, because they hate the shot on video, the found footage aspect of it, because at that time I think Cloverfield had came out, and Cloverfield was really, really taking over, and then Diary came out, and people were like, "This is bullshit." Is what it is. I don't know. I don't know. I hope Diary does get a cult following because I think it is his last really good movie. Where Land and Survival, I'm kind of especially Land. But I don't know. I do really like Diary of the Dead. I wish Diary of the Dead got more love, but I don't know. Maybe I could see Diary of the Dead in 20 years, people being, hey, of those three, man, that maybe that was the best one. Maybe in similar vein to the Star Wars prequels. Like I feel like now after those sequels came out, people were like, man, we didn't really realize what we got, and maybe, but again, we're not going to have this. It's not like we're going to have another trilogy. Like George is gone. Those films die at 6, and I love the Dead Saga, but will it not get a cult following? That's anybody's guess. I hope so. I hope Diary of the Dead does. Romero, I know he seemed to think that one day Survival will, just because Day does. But I don't know, man. I really don't know. I don't know if either one of those films have what Day has at the end of the day. And that's the Savini effects, that's the over the top, the characters and stuff. I remember the characters from Diary of the Dead, but will everybody? You know what I mean? So it's a good question, man. I hope so, but I would say, if answering honestly, I think probably not. I don't know. Hey, man, me and you can start our own cult, but how big our cult's going to be, I don't know. When I say think cult following, I'm thinking a large group of people, but I don't know, man. Time will only tell. Time will only tell for sure. One of the best trilogies of all time. I think so. Yeah, I totally think so. It's right up there with the original Star Wars trilogy for me for best trilogy of all time, I think. Because I think all three of them are great. And all three of them have different things to say, and all three of them came out in different decades and really dignify where they did come out. Like Day is so 80s, Dawn is so late 70s, and The Night is so late 60s. I think for sure it's one of the great trilogies of all time, for sure. Um, but yeah, we're over an hour now. I guess we can wrap it up here. Unless anybody has any final questions. But yeah, man, I appreciate all of you guys asking me questions to finish up the show. I'm sorry. I know it's funny when I talk about only one film, it's hard to go an hour, especially by yourself, like when you don't have a guest on with you. But I don't know. I enjoy talking about this, and I really hope people do check this one out because this is a great, great, great horror anthology film. But that's going to be all for the show here tonight. I hope anybody and everybody has a wonderful, wonderful weekend. It's TGI Fridays tomorrow, so I'm super excited about that. Thank you, Aiden. Thank you, other Aiden. I have not seen him ever in here before, so thank you, Aiden Lake, I believe. I don't know. I appreciate it for you guys checking it out, man. It's good to have 2 fans that are named Aiden now. It's crazy, but Solus Trenchcoat, thank you, man. You were here the entire time, man. God bless you. I appreciate it. Much respect. And of course, Danae, thank you so much for stopping by at the end there. It was really nice to see your name. So yeah, everybody have a wonderful weekend. Get some rest, get some sleep, have some fun with some friends. Oh, thank you, Solus Trenchcoat. I appreciate that. We may be doing a stream Saturday. The Horror Boy wants to do a stream. He reached out to me, so I may be doing a stream with Nate on Saturday. So I hope that all holds up. We were talking about maybe discussing favorite monster movies, and down the road, Nate and I are going to do a commentary for one of my favorite Hellraiser films. That's Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. So we're going to definitely do a fan commentary of that sometime this coming Rocktober season. So that's going to be on my channel, and we will look forward to that. So, and thank you, Aiden. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the support from all you guys. So, all right. We will see you guys on the flip side. Thank you so much for the support. As always, have a wonderful Friday and weekend. This is all for now. This has been the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass. Live in color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. Too sweet. Peace. And we'll catch you next time only on the Graveyard.